Homeowners, have you ever received two different roofing estimates and one is like $6,000 cheaper than the other one? In this video, I'm going to discuss some things that can make that price discrepancy make sense to you and ultimately save you from making an expensive mistake. Hi, my name is Rich. Today in Truck Talk, we're going to talk about drip edge. We're going to talk about ice and water shield, underlayment, starter shingles, regular ridge vent, pipe boots, workmanship warranties, shingle warranties. Are all shingles created equal? And just so you know, all roofing quotes are not created equal, and sometimes you are looking at two different roofing estimates and you're not comparing apples to apples. So I'm hoping to make that a little bit clearer to you today. Let's start out with drip edge. Just this past week, I was out on a job and I drove up to the job. I was actually on a gutter call. So I drove up to the job, noticed the roof, noticed that it was a new roof. The homeowner said it was put on last year, had nice drip edge all along the gable ends. The gable ends are those ones that are like, up and down. That's the gable end. Drip edge all along there. I climb up to the first gutter, look in the gutter. Obviously, the gutters need work. There's absolutely no drip edge in the gutter. And that's probably the most important place for drip edge to be, is along your eaves, wherever your gutters are, because in the event of ice damming, depending on your climate, it can protect your decking underneath. I went and inspected all around this house, all around the gutters. Not a single piece of drip edge was in those gutters. And what was disturbing to me was that the contractor, whoever put that roof on, had put drip edge where they knew that the homeowner would see it, and then in the places where it was not visible to the homeowner from the ground, they proceeded to skip that step. One thing to ask about for sure is drip edge. Make sure it's included in the scope of work. Ice and water shield, depending on where you live, it's code to have ice and water shield along your eaves as well as in your valleys. Here in Tennessee, it's just in your valleys. Ask them if they're going to be applying ice and water shield in the valleys for extra added layer of protection. If you have a roof that is extremely low slope, meaning it's almost flat, ask them what they plan to do there, because in some instances asphalt shingles are not acceptable, and in some others, depending on the slope, a good practice is to place ice and water shield in that entire area, where otherwise you would just put underlayment. Then ask about underlayment. Do you plan to use underlayment? What kind of underlayment? Is it what kind of felt? Is it a system product? Meaning, if you're putting on malarkey shingles, is it malarkey underlayment? Because typically when you're looking to get the full warranty out of a shingle, you need to use 3 to 5 components of that shingle in order to get the warranty. Ridge vent. What kind of ridge vent are you putting on? Are you putting on aluminum ridge cap? Or are you putting on the plastic ridge vent? Or are you putting on box vents? Just ask and have them specify and include that in the scope of work as well. Pipe boots. A lot of times, it's not uncommon for contractors to cut a corner and use the same pipe boots. I haven't seen it a whole lot, but that does happen. Ask them what kind of pipe boots they're going to put on. There's these ones called lifetime pipe boots, which we include in our premium roofs, or if it's just a standard one. Some of the standard ones need to be maintained over the course of years, because they can rot out and cause a leak around your pipe vents. Workmanship warranty. This is a big one. Most people have a 5 or 10 year workmanship warranty. Make sure to ask about that, because that has to be included in the price as well. It's hard to find something that is free. If you're gonna buy a roof and you're paying for a workmanship warranty that's 15 years, it's probably going to be a little higher price, because that contractor has to plan on staying in business and honoring that workmanship warranty. Plywood. So your decking underneath the roof, have they included any of those in the quote? Or if they find rotted wood, will that immediately be extra? One thing you got to look out for is a baseline quote, that they don't include any of these things. They don't specify on any of these things. And if they run into extra work, they will change order you to the difference of the price and get their profit margins back up, because companies have to make money somehow. They're cutting corners, or they're using a cheaper product. That's why. Or maybe the bid that was $6,000 more In some events, it might be that they're just being greedy, or their profit margins have to be more, not necessarily that they're being greedy. Um, there are definitely those companies that jack their margins way up. I had one instance with an old man where my quote came out to, he had a tiny house, and the quote for complete re-roof was somewhere around $8,000, and he had another company come in and offer him, or quote him, $26,000, and then high pressured him and said, you know what, if you sign today, we will drop it off and make it we'll make it like 18,000. That's still like $10,000 higher than what I quoted the roof, with decent margins for us. And so, in my opinion, I think that's just a ripoff, and they're taking advantage of old people. But I don't know the structure of their business, so maybe I shouldn't be so judgmental. But it does upset me when I see companies preying on old people like that. So to wrap this video up, most homeowners might think that they're comparing roofs, and it's not apples to apples. They're not comparing the scopes of work. So just kind of get nitty gritty. Ask the hard questions. Don't be afraid to ask your roofing salesman questions. About what are they planning on doing, what kind of product they're doing. Obviously, not all shingles are created equal. You have class 4 shingles, you have class 3 shingles, you have shingles that are unclassified. So you might want to get into that too, as far as polymer modified shingles and just regular asphalt shingles. All of those things come into play. I hope this video helps somebody just a little bit. If you have any questions, drop it in the comment down below. Be happy to answer any questions that you have. For today, that's it for Truck Talk. I'm Rich the Roofer. God bless y'all. Have a wonderful weekend.